Hello friends, thanks for joining me today. I'm working on a cute little Valentine's journal and I thought I'd show you my favorite method for binding in the signatures. I created these 4 signatures. They each have 3 to 4 pages in them. I use the bind and glue method. These signatures will be bound to an interior spine element and then glued into the journal. So I'll start by creating the spine using a piece of cardboard cut to the right size and wrapped in a pretty paper. So I want to center this because it has a graphic on it. Looks pretty good. As you can see, I cut my corners. It keeps it from being bulky, and I'm going to show you the technique I use to make nice clean corners and edges. I need my trusty metal ruler, which is good for so many things. If you just press right along the edges of the spine, the cardboard, you get a really clean fold. There we go. Nice and neat. I like that. I'm going to turn this over, and the first thing I'm going to do is put a T at the top because I don't want to sew any of the signatures in upside down and it just orients it. Now I'm just marking these places where I want to put my holes. I'm eyeballing this. You can measure it off if you'd like. I'm going to go ahead and speed this up just a little bit for time's sake. And now I'm going to just put in little cross marks here to show exactly where I want to place my awl when I punch through. I have my awl. Nothing too technical about this. Just punch through. I like to make not a teeny tiny hole, bigger than a pinhole for sure. But I also like the holes to be tight around the binding thread. Let me grab my needle here. I use a size 20 embroidery needle, and I use wax bookbinding thread for stitching this in. I do a 3-hole, most of the time 3-hole, sometimes 5-hole pamphlet stitch. So I'll use triple the length of the spine for each signature. I have found that if you kind of squish the end of this, it goes in a lot easier. I'm just taking the signature pages and positioning them how I want them once they're sewn in. Most of the time I just center them. Occasionally if I have a short page, I'll put it more towards the top or bottom so it catches 2 holds when it's bound and holds in better instead of just a center hold. And I want to clip these to secure these in the right place. And I'm going to take my spine and line it up where I want the holes to be on the pages. So essentially the page holes line up with where I punch them in the spine. And I go ahead and clip the spine on while I punch the holes. So if you position your awl right next to the holes in the spine, and then bend your pages forward, this will ensure that the holes are centered right in that crease all the way from the inside pages to the back page. Yeah. We'll go ahead and stitch the first signature onto the spine. Make sure that you stitch it in the correct place. I can't tell you how many times I've stitched on the last row of holes as opposed to the ones on the left. So I want my knot on the inside fold of my signature, so I'm going to do a 3-hole pamphlet stitch, starting with the first hole being the center hole of the signature. Then through the spine, back through, and then the top hole of the signature. Then I'm going to come down to the bottom hole of this signature, go back through the spine, and up through the middle hole. So you have through the middle hole twice. And make sure that your needle comes up on the other side of the binding thread that's on the inside of the signature. So the 2 threads should be on opposite sides, so when you knot it, it holds the thread, the long thread, in place. Make sure it's very tight. Give it a good pull without ripping holes. I always check the back of the spine to make sure that the thread is tight and that there are no loops that are going to make it loosen up. So we'll just give it a regular knot. Make sure it's nice and tight. And a little snip I leave my ends about 1/2 inch. You can leave them a little longer if you want to attach some beads or charms. I'll go ahead and stitch in the other 3 so you can really get a good feel for it, but I'll do it on a faster mode just for the sake of time. Now you'll see on this second signature that I clipped on the other side. That's just because it's easier to clip in the spine and punch the holes from this angle. And that's how it will be for the remaining signatures. So your first signature, your clips go on the left of the signature, and all the remaining ones, they go on the right. So through the middle, through the spine, up through the spine and into the signature top hole, all the way down to the signature bottom hole, through the spine, and back through the spine on the center hole, and make sure that your threads come up on opposite sides. Give it a good pull. Make sure it's all tight. No loops. And knot it and snip it. All right, that looks good. Securely bound, nice and even and neat. Let's glue this into the journal. I'm just going to position this here and make sure it's a good fit. My go-to glue, as you know if you've watched me, is Fabri-Tac. And you want to get a nice bead across where the thread went through the holes. And then on the edges, just a small bead. You don't want a thick bead because you don't want it gushing out. And then in the middle, you can really go for it. You do want to have enough glue to give it a nice secure hold. Press this down. Give it a clip. Ideally, you want to wait overnight, but generally what happens for me is I pick it up after 30 minutes because I can't wait and I've never had any trouble. If you like this pretty journal, check out our video on the making of it called Love Junk Journal Series. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy our content, please like this video and subscribe to our channel.